My teacher knew what happened to me when I was 6. My teacher pulled me aside after class one day and said something that made my stomach drop. I know what happened to you when you were 6. I just stared at her because I had never told anyone what happened when I was 6. Not my friends, not my teachers, not even my best friend. So I asked her the only question I could think of. How do you know? She looked at me for a few seconds and said, because I was there. My name is Ethan. And that was the moment I realized the worst memory of my childhood wasn't actually a memory anymore. Someone else remembered it too. I was 6. Something happened at a grocery store near our old house. I got separated from my mom. I remember the fluorescent lights, the sound of shopping carts, and standing beside a freezer while everyone around me looked like strangers. I remember crying. Then a woman found me. She knelt down, told me not to be scared, and stayed with me until my mom came running. That was all I remembered. At least, that's what I thought. My mom never liked talking about that day. Whenever I asked, she would say, "You were little. You got lost for a few minutes. That's it." So I stopped asking. 11 years later, I was a sophomore in high school. My English teacher was a woman named Miss Carter. She was quiet, strict, and honestly, pretty normal. She never treated me differently. Until that day, after class, she asked me to stay behind. When everyone left, she closed the classroom door. Then she said my name. "Ethan, do you remember the grocery store?" I felt my entire body go cold. "What grocery store?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she said something that explained everything before I could even ask. "I recognized your last name the day you walked into my class. I never forgot it." I stood up. "How do you know about that?" She looked nervous for the first time since I'd known her. "I need you to trust me." I laughed because I was scared. "Trust you? You just told me about something I've never told you." She reached into her desk and pulled out an old photograph. It showed a little boy standing beside a woman. The boy was me. I recognized the jacket immediately, but I didn't recognize the woman. Carter turned the photograph over. On the back was a date, the exact date I got lost. There was also a handwritten line. "Found him at 4:17 p.m. His mother arrived at 4:29. I asked her, "Why do you have this?" She took a deep breath. "Because I was the woman in the picture." I couldn't speak. The woman who had found me 11 years earlier was my teacher. But that wasn't even the strangest part. She told me she had tried to contact my mother years ago, and my mom had refused to talk to her. I asked why. Ms. Carter said, "Because of what I saw in her hands that day." I felt confused. "What do you mean?" She said, "When your mother finally reached you, she wasn't just relieved. She was holding a child's jacket that wasn't yours. And she looked terrified. She grabbed you so tightly you started crying. Then she looked at me and whispered, 'Please don't tell anyone what you saw.'" That sentence changed everything, and searched through every old box I could find. Birthday cards, school papers, anything from when I was 6. Then I found an old newspaper clipping. A child had gone missing from our neighborhood the same afternoon I got lost. I had never seen the article before. The child was a little girl. Her name was Lily. She was never found. I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I confronted my mom. I put the newspaper on the kitchen table. "Who was Lily?" My mom dropped her coffee cup. It shattered on the floor. For a few seconds, she didn't say anything. Then she sat down and she started crying. She told me the truth. That afternoon, my mom had been helping Lily's mother search for her. I had wandered off while they were looking. When my mom finally found me, she was still holding the jacket she'd found near the freezers, the one she believed belonged to Lily. She was afraid it meant Lily had been taken, and she was afraid that if the police learned I had been left alone while she searched, they would blame her for what happened to me, and maybe even connect her to what happened to Lily. So she told everyone I had simply gotten lost. She buried the whole story. Then she told me something I never expected. "I wasn't hiding Lily from you. I was trying to protect you from what came after her." Because days after Lily disappeared, a man in our neighborhood was questioned by police, then arrested. But months later, with no solid proof, he was let go. My mom never stopped believing he was involved. She became terrified he might have noticed me too. So she moved us across the state, changed my school, and never spoke about the case again. She thought silence would keep me safe. I asked her why she never told me. She looked at me and said, "Because every time I looked at you, I remembered how close I came to losing you. For years, I thought my mother was hiding a terrible secret from me." But the truth was, she had been carrying one because she was afraid. A few days later, I went back to Miss Carter. I asked her why she had finally told me now. She said, "Because Lily's case was reopened. New evidence surfaced, and there's one old witness the police still need to speak to. You." I didn't want to remember. but I tried. And slowly, something came back. Not the grocery store, not the freezer, not the woman who found me. Something else. A man's voice. I remembered someone crouching beside me and saying, "Come with me. I know where your mom is." I had forgotten his face, but I remembered his jacket. When the police showed me an old photograph, the same man who'd been arrested and released years ago, I recognized him instantly. It was him. He had spoken to me first, that same afternoon, before my mother ever found me. And for the first time in 11 years, Lily's family finally had the missing piece that could put him back in front of a judge. I still don't know what happened to Lily, but I know this. That day, my teacher didn't just tell me a secret. She handed me back a piece of my own childhood that had been buried under someone else's fear. And my mom? I finally understood why she never wanted me to remember. She wasn't hiding the truth because she didn't love me. She was hiding it because she loved me so much that she was terrified the truth would bring the danger back with it. Sometimes, the people who love us don't know how to protect us without keeping secrets. And sometimes, the truth hurts. But living your whole life without knowing it can hurt even more.